bit of a shame because there is some wind, but just not enough so we can sail. That's what we've burned in 2 days.
And now with these new numbers, we only have 530 nautical miles. When are we gonna run out?
We are trying to dodge the squall that's behind me.
The wind is picking up quite a lot.
We are screwed. We don't have enough fuel. So
I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm so tired.
we are about to cross back to Australia. It's cyclone season. We have no autopilot. The wind is not supposed to be strong and we don't have enough fuel to get to the finish line. Is that enough?
In the last episode, you left us in the middle of a squall. But what exactly is a squall, you might ask? It's a sudden, violent burst of wind accompanied by significant weather such as thunder, rain or snow. You can usually spot it from a distance as a large towering cloud with a flat bottom. The wind increases very suddenly and typically rises by 22 knots or more. And another challenging aspect is that the wind direction might shift following the movement of the squall, which can be tricky to judge. So to prepare, you want to furl your head sail and reef your mainsail if it's out, and be ready to change course to avoid unwanted jibing or try to head downwind to decrease the apparent wind speed. In our case, since we barely had any wind before the squall and we didn't have the mainsail out, a 20 knot increase in wind speed only brought us up to a max of 26 knots, which wasn't too concerning. But if we'd been sailing at our usual 15 to 20 knots during a crossing, we could have suddenly found ourselves at the 40 knots mark or gale force 8. And there's no way to predict if it will stop at a 22 knot increase or go even higher, which is the scary part.
Yeah, we are having our first squall. We might even furl a little bit the head.
Yes. So?
Well, it is our first squall. The wind is not crazy. It was up to like 22 knots, I think, which is alright. But a lot of rain. And now the wind is down again to 15 to 14. So yeah, it's fine. It's just rainy. It's annoying when you have to steer by hand. That's when you need an autopilot for sure.
Also trying to collect a little bit of water. So hopefully we've avoided the last group of fishing boats for a little while at least. That's what we see on marine traffic. It's funny, the one that's a bit above us, we can see him dropping all of the buoys for the nets. And yeah, I guess he's putting the nets perpendicular to the current so that he's catching a lot of stuff. But yeah, we could have gone straight for it if we were 2 nautical miles up north. So once again, bit of luck here, I don't know. We've started the autopilot earlier tonight because of that squall, because it was raining and we had rain everywhere in the cockpit. So let's see if it's a good idea.
Alright, end of night 3 done. That one was a little bit more eventful than previous nights, in the sense that there was some squalls, but not that many, a little bit of wind, the swell was getting there. A bit more tired because we didn't have very good sleep because of the swell, but it's a bit of a shame because there is some wind, but just not enough so we can sail. So we are motor sailing, which is good for now. I can see a lot of squalls in front of us, so we expect some turbulence on the way. So that's what we've burned in 2 days. That's 35, so 140 liters. And thankfully that's the extra we bought into our. We've done 2 days with it, so it's good.
Alright, time to recap our fuel situation. So we've used this website to get an idea of our consumption, placing us just above the 3000 RPM to get a speed of 5 to 5.5, so somewhere around 3 liters an hour. Side note, these numbers are valid for us with a light catamaran, but a higher displacement boat will for sure consume more, I think. The problem though is that since we've started, we've had a lot of current, so we are running around the 3500 RPM to get a speed that's closer to 4.5 knots most of the time. So our initial calculation was giving us about 625 nautical miles, and now with these new numbers we only have 530 nautical miles. We've already done 360, so the big question is, when are we gonna run out?
We've done just over halfway.
Yeah, I saw that. It's nice, and in a way it's depressing because it means that all we've just done, we have to do it again, being more tired. I think we are in Australian waters now, a little bit less stressed about fishermen. That's one thing that you didn't mention. Like last night was, at least for my ship, was eventful fishermen-wise, because I saw 4 of them without the AIS. So that's why it's scary.
You know why I didn't mention it?
No?
Because I didn't see any.
Of course you didn't.
We are trying to dodge the squall that's behind me. It's a massive one, so we're trying to use the wind to go ahead of it and try to go around. So the squall moves like this and we are moving like this, so we are trying to dodge it, but we have to go fast. I think it's behind. We are dodging it. I think we are dodging it, riding the wind so we get more speed. But yeah, it's very thick, so he went all the way past us, but I think we managed to dodge the rain.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
We have dodged it. So the squall is behind us. The issue now is that it has created this weird swell. Feels like we are in a washing machine. Well, at least we are past it. The other issue is I'm starting to be very, very tired.
Day 3?
Day 4.
Day 4?
Yep, it is day 4.
Day 4?
Day 4.
How did I get it wrong?
I don't know. I am counting, so I know. Yeah, almost the end of the day. Now we're gonna start the night. You can see a few squalls around us, so we might get caught in a few ones, but there's not a lot of wind, so I think if I'm not wrong, we've done in total 420 nautical miles or something.
And how much fuel?
We've used 140 plus 60. We used 200, I think.
So here's the good news of the day. So we've done about 410 nautical miles in 3.5 days. So that's giving us a 5 knots average. Obviously, that's not the good news. We've had the engine on the whole time, and let's say for 90% of that time, we pushed it to 3,500 RPM, and we've only used 200 liters of fuel. So that means that we're only doing 2.4 liters per hour at 3,500 RPM. Let's say 2.5 to account for human error, because it's hard to judge how much of the time we actually pushed it to that high RPM, and also it's difficult to estimate how much fuel exactly is left in the jerry cans that are not full. But yeah, about 2.5 liters an hour. So with that new estimate, with the 376 liters that we had when we left, we should be able to make it all the way to Thursday Island. Yay!
As you can see, we didn't hoist the mainsail at this moment. Why, would you ask? Days earlier, when we didn't have wind, it was useless and actually moving a lot, making it noisy and dangerous for nothing. Right now, we do have a little breeze, but it's coming from behind, and it's not strong enough to power the mainsail. You see, our catamaran is mostly head-powered, meaning we tend to gain more speed thanks to the headsail than the main. Final reason, even if we did put it up right now, we'd have to refin, which sounds so strange with less than 10 knots of wind, but we are surrounded by squalls, so we can't take the risk of having it out completely, as unlike the headsails, taking it down involves going on deck, which can be dangerous in an emergency situation.
So we have a squall here, tiny one here, teeny tiny one here, one here, one here. Seems that this one is coming for us. I don't think we can avoid it. And if we can, then it might be that one. They're closing in on each other. I don't think we can get through in time.
We cannot dodge it, so we are going in. So we're gonna get wet. Be ready.
Here's the latest situation. The wind is picking up and the sun is coming down. We probably have no more than 10 minutes of daylight or something like this. So in 10 minutes we won't even know when we are going to hit it. The wind is picking up quite a lot. Nothing crazy because there was no wind before, so it's still at a level where it's absolutely manageable. But that's the issue with squalls. We never know how high the wind is going to get. We can never be fully prepared. I don't know if we're going to get the rain or not. Looks like on the left part there's a lot of rain, but maybe not on the right part, which I think is where we are headed. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Alright, it's my shift and it's raining a lot. There's a big squall. The wind is not too high, 10 knots, so it's fine. But it's raining a lot, so I had to close the head sail because the wind, of course, switched position, got all wet. This gives me something to do because I was falling asleep.
We hit a few more squalls during the night with thunderstorm, but no more rain and no fishing boats.
Good morning. It's the beginning of day 5. Yeah, day 5. We didn't make a lot of progress last night, and to be honest, we are starting to stress out a little bit because the wind was supposed to start increasing today and tomorrow. So we kind of were hoping that was true so we could actually sail. We are not sure we're gonna have enough fuel to get to the end. Basically because sometimes we are against currents and this kind of stuff, so we have to use more fuel. To give a little bit of an update, 487 nautical miles from the start. 230 nautical miles away from the end. We only have 130 liters of fuel. Knowing that in the first 2 days we've used 140, and we have roughly 2 days left. We are tight, so we should be getting there, but you never know. Around Thursday Island, there's some very, very strong currents, like 3 to 4 knots, and sometimes even more, but at that time of the year. So if we have to put both engines for like 3 to 4 hours, we are screwed. We don't have enough fuel. So we are getting a big stress. On top of that, we are getting tired. We have to hand steer all day long. We've got the 3 sails out. We've got everything out. Because we are motor sailing, there is 4 to 5 knots of wind.
Remember what I said about the mainsail? Well, the wind has shifted and now we are more sailing on a close reach, so the mainsail is helpful at not moving all around. But we still have to be super careful with the squalls.
There is 4 to 5 knots of wind, which is not a lot at all. So we are motor sailing, and that helps, like everything helps. Like every time we can just put another sail, adjust the sail, we do it because every extra mile we do with it is going to be a mile we don't have to put fuel on, and maybe that's going to be the important one. Another method for us to get closer to the end, we have to make a little bit of a detour to avoid all the nets. And on our way to Thursday Island, we actually had nets around where we are, so we were supposed to make a bigger detour this time, but we are going to be there during daytime and we need to save miles, so we've decided to actually go through, even though that's risky. But the nets, usually they are there during the night and we can spot them. So taking some risk there, but it's calculated risk. I think that's gonna be all right. What's the goal here?
So, because we're trying to save some fuel, we need other solutions. There's a teeny tiny bit of wind, like really not much, but a tiny bit of wind. So we've decided to put the spinnaker on the side. So we are pretty much on a beam bridge. So we kept the main up and we're putting the spinnaker on the side. See if we can gain some speed like this and turn off the engine, or at least run it lower.
How much apparent wind do we have?
3.8 knots.
The spinnaker is on the side. And we have the main. Hopefully the main is not taking too much wind out of the spinnaker. If not, we're just gonna drop the main.
Okay, I need to explain here. That spinnaker, well, it's too big for our boat, which means that if we use it on the side like we are doing right now, it can tip the boat over. Yes, I'm talking capsizing. But realistically, we would need about 15 knots apparent wind at least for that, and we don't even have 5, so...
Engine is on 2.6 RPM, and we still have decent speed when the true wind is above 9 knots. The problem
I think
is
it's more
that,
8 here.
Yeah, the problem is that it peaks at 9 and then it goes back to 7 something, and I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Alright, drop the motor a little bit more. Well, we're doing 4 knots, which I think is good. If you look at the wind and the fuel situation, that's a good result. Let's see how long we can do 4 knots for. And we are sailing! First sail of the passage after 4 days and a half. Finally stopped the engine. Out of that to do 4 knot speed, because there is 6 to 7 knots of wind. It's a miracle we are managing to sail, so at least it's free. And because we are short on fuel, like even if we do that for an hour, it's 4 less nautical miles we have to do. So
the problem is that there are so many different parameters to take into account. One of them being that the Australian waters, they're not a straight line. So we were in Australian waters until now, but now there's a bit of a dip like this. And it means that we are back into Indonesian waters for the next apparently 14 hours at that speed. And we don't want to be there by night, really, because of the fishing nets and that sort of things. I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm so tired. It's been the worst shift ever, with squalls everywhere. And now I've just seen the lightning maybe like 1 kilometer away from the boat, just hitting the water. I'm just so tired and so scared. I really want this to be over.
In that moment, I felt so utterly alone. The vast expanse of the water surrounding us and the storm made it feel like we were the only 2 souls in the universe. With Jan asleep, I bore the weight of that fear by myself, every crack of thunder and flash of lightning amplifying the isolation and the helplessness. I should have woken Jan up, but I was paralyzed by fear and unable to move. It was a stark reminder of how vulnerable we truly are out there and how much we rely on each other to get through these moments. In times like these, you realize you won't ever know your limits until you meet them head on and push past them.
3 a.m. in the morning, and after a few calm and uneventful nights, we've got it all tonight. We keep going from a thunderstorm to another thunderstorm. You can see the lightning going down and hitting the water right next to the boat. Super scary. One hit the mast, we are gonna be left with no electronics, without enough fuel to reach land. We're scared tonight. We're scared. I'm not the first one to go through that. A lot of people went through it and then nothing happened. So we gotta stay positive and think that it's gonna be the same for us. Just wish everything's gonna be alright. When it's out of your control like this, it can get scary because there's nothing you can do. It is finally daylight. As you can see, it's still horrible outside. So what a night. It's the last day, so we are around 80 nautical miles away from Australia. It's great news, very great news. The only thing is we have to be there before midnight. If not, the current, which is very, very strong, is going to be against us. So we're going to have to wait. I think it's 3 to 4 a.m. that is going to switch side. That's fine, that's something we're going to manage. The other issue also is there's a system information just west of where we are in the Gulf, and there's a high chance it's going to be transformed into a cyclone. We don't know yet if we're going to be able to rush down to Cairns to dodge it, or if it's safest or too late for us to leave and find a spot to shelter here. Yeah, let's see how it evolves in the next few days. First of all, we have to go through today.
I have to say this end of passage is really testing our limits. Last night was by far my worst moment on the boat. Yeah, a lot of squall activity, but it was mainly the lightning. It just killed me because I saw lightning go directly in the water, maybe like a kilometer away from the boat. It scared the shit out of me. After that, I was just outside, like counting the time between the lightning and the thunder. It was just so not pleasant because we're still so far away from everything. If we get hit by lightning, then we lose all of our electronic, like everything. That's the best case scenario if you get hit by lightning, because the worst case is that blow a hole in the boat and then you sink. And it doesn't help obviously that we are so exhausted, because even though we can use that last shred of the autopilot at night, we are hand steering all day long, regardless of the weather, whether it's too hot, whether it's raining, whatever. And our speed is not really fast, so it's getting on our nerves. Like everything in this passage is just so difficult. It's almost midday. We have about 85 nautical miles more to do and about 75 liters of fuel left. So we should be able to do it. It should get us covered till the end. That is, if we can keep our speed. So let's hope we can.
Finally, we've got the big sail up, the big orange spinnaker. And that means we're gonna make it. Because we were super short in fuel, and now with this up we are doing 8 knot speed. I'm actually very relieved, a bit stressed because there is quite a lot of wind and it's quite squally, so there could be a lot of wind in just an instant in the air, so we've got to be super careful. It's so cool to actually travel for free, knowing that we are sailing through with this spinnaker and going so fast that, yeah, it's just so cool. Now I just have to focus because the swell is a bit sideways, so we are going downwind, but the swell is on the broad reach, so when we are surfing down the wave, the stern of the boat is being pushed on the side, so the spinnaker goes on the side of the boat, which is not good. So I'm trying to hold it to make sure we don't do that. It is the middle of night 6 and we are approaching the zone where we're gonna anchor. We can actually see a lot of big ships because we are in a passage. We see a lot of lights, which is unusual because for the last 7 days we've been out at sea alone. So finally seeing people, even though it's not people, it's just lights, I don't know, it feels warm. So I think we have an extra 2 hours to get where we want to drop anchor. I'm gonna try and find the anchorage by night. 2 more hours. Excited. We can see land!
Land ho!
Land!
Finally!
How happy are you?
I'm super happy, although I wish we'd been here sooner, but
Yeah.
oh, the feeling is amazing.
We haven't seen land for so long. Yeah, that's so cool because we're sailing all night trying to go through that small passage that has a lot of current. The sun arrives. So cool. I'm very happy. We should be there in less than an hour. Just as the sun rises, we are gonna arrive. I think there's a little bit of current. We're doing 9.7 over the ground and only 4 through the water. And this is land. This is where we're gonna go. So I think we should drop anchor with the first cat.
Yep.
She's here in front of us, and there's many other sailing boats there. So yeah, let's go with this one. We've done it.
Yes.
We are back to Australia.
The boat isn't moving anymore.
I so want to go to bed.
Yeah, we can't. We need to clear in.
First we have to find where we have to go to clear in.